5/16/2019. It's right at 6 p.m. Just a little heads up, if you haven't been in here since we've updated all the microphone system, all the mics are up above you, so if you're speaking on public comment or anything like that, you just have to speak. It's a very simple system that we have here, and appreciate everybody being here. And if you say anything out there, we got you recorded as well. So but no, appreciate all the work that's continuing being done with that. We're trying to upgrade this for the citizens, so y'all can hear and understand everything that we've got going on here, and for all of our committees that we have out there. We'll move into public comment session. No one has signed up. If anybody would like to speak, you can come forward now. Any written comments can be given to Ms. Smith. All right, we'll move to council member comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the executive session agenda to add the discussion of selling some Oconee County property in one of the county industrial parks.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Reed, is that clear?
That's clear, yes, sir. And
All
in
right.
order.
Any other council member comments tonight?
Just that one.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to once again commend the Y and the Walhalla City Pool for the swimming lessons. They have the ongoing and have been going in the past. For those of you that don't know, once you learn to swim, you swim for life. If you don't know how to swim, you're dead if you fall in the water. And the Y has done an excellent job of providing water safety, and I think they need to be congratulated for a great job.
Any other comments? All right. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Mr. Reed?
Yes, sir. Please pray with me if you'd like to. Our Father and Creator and Sustainer of our lives, thank you for this day you've made. Thank you for this time we have to come together to do business in freedom, for this opportunity to pray to you. I also pray that you would remind us to pray, not just on occasions like this or when we go to bed or get up or over meals, but to pray throughout the day because we need your wisdom. Tonight is kind of a neat meeting because we have things that we are looking back on to celebrate our heritage in this county, to celebrate service, and we thank you for that. Also, a lot of things that are looking forward, a number of things with economic development and planning that really are kind of casting where this county is going in the future. And so as we look back and look forward, I really hope that we recognize the need for you and your wisdom, because we don't have that kind of vision, and we need it from you. In fact, we need your help in everything we do and in this meeting. And I pray that this would be your meeting. And in your name I pray. Amen.
Mr. Jerry Dyer, will you lead us in the pledge?
If you're a veteran, you may render a hand salute to the forehead or place a hand over the heart. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. Motion to approve June 18th, 2019 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Proclamation 2019-11. Proclamation honoring Mrs. Flora M. Riley, whereas Ms. Riley was recommended for appointment to the Oconee County Election Commission by the Honorable Senator Alexander McCauley in October 1986. Whereas Ms. Riley was appointed to the Oconee County Election Commission by the Honorable Governor Richard W. Riley in October 1986. Whereas Ms. Riley was recommended and appointed to Oconee County Election Commission continuously with each term until 1998. Whereas the Voter Registration Board and the Oconee County Election Commission were combined into one agency in 1998. Whereas Ms. Riley served continuously on the now combined Board of Voter Registration and Elections for Oconee County, providing vital knowledge, expertise, and leadership for the election process in Oconee County, serving one term as chairperson on the board. Whereas Ms. Riley's final recommendation by the Honorable Senator Thomas Alexander and final reappointment to the board by the Honorable Governor Henry McMaster came in October 2016. Whereas Ms. Riley retired from the Oconee County Board of Voter Registration and Elections July 1st, 2019, with almost 33 years of continuous service. Therefore, Oconee County Council wishes to acknowledge Ms. Flora M. Riley for her accomplishments and dedication in service to Oconee County. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Come on up here to the stage.
Yeah, see, we've got it now where the person taking the picture stands here.
It's paying off. Making them do this over and over again, they're getting better.
Get it here, folks.
Wow.
And we have Proclamation 2019-12, Proclamation for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Whereas World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is recognized on June 15th of each year. Whereas World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is an opportunity for people, organizations to take action to protect older people by raising awareness about elder abuse, why it occurs, and what we can do to stop it. And whereas every year an estimated 5 million or 1 in 10 older Americans experience elder abuse, neglect. Whereas on June 13th, 2019, the SC Appalachian Council of Governments Long-Term Care Program held the second annual World Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Lyman, South Carolina, and was attended by around 200 seniors from the local community. Whereas Lieutenant Daniel Gordon with the Spartanburg City Police Department spoke about elder abuse and safety and warned about certain scams that target the senior population and how to prevent them from becoming a victim. And whereas 2 speakers from the United States Attorney's Office, District of South Carolina, engaged in the seniors in a game of fraud bingo, which helped teach senior tips about fraud prevention. Whereas the ACOG's long-term program hopes to continue this free event each year and is committed to spread awareness on how to preserve and protect the rights of the aging population. Therefore, Oconee County Council does hereby acknowledge World Elder Abuse Awareness Day while urging all citizens to dedicate themselves to provide the quality of life for every elder. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor? Ms. Brock, do we have anybody to receive this tonight?
We do not. I just requested this be placed on the agenda after noticing that the ACOG had an outstanding attendance at their recent meeting. And our elder population has increased over the past several years, and just want to make sure that we were recognizing our elders and the abuse and the awareness. Yes, sir.
Mr. Hart.
Recognition of the Oconee County Veterans Affairs Office and for all their hard work and dedication to the veterans of Oconee County. Mr. Dyer, would you and your staff please come forward and accept this plaque?
Stranger.
Shoes don't look so big anymore. You feel
Could I have just a moment?
You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Just speak to the camera out there because there's people waiting to see
Mr.
you.
Chairman and members of County Council, citizens of Oconee County. The Oconee County Veterans Affairs Office exists for the sole purpose of trying to help some of our 7,000 veterans in Oconee County on a constant basis with issues ranging from disability benefits to pension benefits for they and their family members, and education benefits for eligible children, health care benefits for our veterans around Oconee County. As I mentioned, we got about 7,000 veterans in Oconee County. And our veterans, as they have never done, have asked for anything. They've served their country when called on. They've come back home to the plants, to the farms, and continued their life-building process, and they've done a wonderful job of it. And I want to introduce our Assistant Service Officer, Eric Suttles. Eric has been with us just over a year. He is a military personnel member today, and we're proud of that he's able to mesh his work with the Oconee County Veterans Affairs Office and his continued obligation to the military of our nation. Eric, thank you. He's doing a wonderful job in our office, working with veterans, and then the lady who keeps everything going for us over there is Tanya Atkins. Both of these folks are relatively new in the VA office, and they're learning me a little something every day in being there. And I appreciate them and what they do and what they stand for in representing our veterans. This is something that I certainly did not anticipate this evening in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But thank you very much on behalf of our staff and the VA office. This will be displayed proudly in the lobby of the Veterans Affairs Office. And I would also conclude by saying that next month, on August 7th, it's Purple Heart Day. And we have a Purple Heart on our county council here. Mr. Hart was wounded in Vietnam, and he appropriately displays the honor and integrity that comes with that award. Glenn, thank you for your service. Mr. McCall is a veteran of our service. And I'm not quite sure about our other representatives in county government here. I'm not. But I tell you what they do do. What they do is represent and support the veterans of Oconee County in a way that's unmatched, in my opinion, by the other counties in the state of South Carolina. We have 46 service offices in Oconee, in the state of South Carolina. And I have a thorough knowledge of the fact that a number of our VA service offices only exist around South Carolina because they've been mandated to do so by state statute. But here in Oconee County, the work of the VA office and the members in that VA office is taken very seriously by our county council and by our state legislative delegation. We have, I think, the most patriotic county in the state of South Carolina. And this office is treated with a lot of respect by this body, and I think by the citizens of Oconee County. And I'm just grateful for that. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to go in that office every day and sit down and work with many veterans across the spectrum of Oconee County. This office is doing, I think, if I may pat these folks on the back, a wonderful service for our veteran population here in Oconee County. And we appreciate the citizens of this county in supporting the work of the Oconee County Veterans Affairs Office. I mentioned August 7th is Purple Heart Day. Beginning August 7th, continuing through Veterans Day, the Oconee County Veterans Affairs Office, with the cooperation and wonderful assistance of our administrator and county council, has commissioned and produced what we think is a beautiful challenge coin that we're going to be passing out to all of the veterans. It has the Oconee County logo on this side of it and the inscription, Veterans Affairs, Oconee County, thank you, veterans, for your service. And a picture of Old Glory on that side of the challenge coin. We'll be presenting this to all of our veterans, starting with the recognition. We're going to have a drop-in from 9 o'clock to 11 on August 7th at the VA office, and honoring all of our Purple Heart veterans. I have no idea how many Purple Heart veterans we have in Oconee County, but there are a number of them. And we're going to be proud to salute them and honor them for a couple hours on August the 7th. I'd like to invite county council members to come over that day and have a couple of refreshments and meet our Purple Heart veterans. Be proud and honored to have our county representatives over there. And I want to kick this process off by presenting one of these challenge coins to each of our county council members, and because you folks helped make this possible, and we thank you for that, and especially you guys who've served our country. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, and we're going to pass one out to Amanda Brock, our county administrator, because she was instrumental in assisting us with this project. Thank you so much. And thank you again for this very special recognition. We just need to keep recognizing the veterans of our great county. That's what we need to keep doing, and you folks do that beautifully with us. And I never miss an opportunity to thank our county government leaders and our state delegation members for their support of the great veterans here in Oconee County. These veterans know about the support that we have from Oconee County here. And thank you again. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Real quick, and Wayne and Glenn, you'll get on each side up toward the front, on each side of him, yes. Yep.
I'll be the head in the back.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Amanda did 2 times.
Oh, that one sounds like much of nothing right now.
You two, timing, we're gonna move right on to, I don't have any public hearings, no third readings. Second reading, 2019-17, ordinance authorize the conveyance of easement of rights to American Legion, South Carolina Post 124 for the purpose of providing ingress, egress, and vehicular parking on certain county-owned property. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First, reading of the following ordinance, 2019-18, ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of real property lease between Oconee County and Tri-County Development Corporation as leasee for certain real property located at 104 Brown Square Drive. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have one question.
Yes, sir,
I'd like to
Mr. McCall.
What is the end product of the businesses in there right now?
I believe at the current time, Mr. McCollum, I can verify this tomorrow to make sure, that we have 17. We have an industry in there that creates wiring for medical equipment, which is on the very end. They're actually grown so much, they're looking for a new space. We have a woodworker, we have a gentleman that makes custom parts for large airplanes. We have 2 residential home network specialists, and we have an additional radio station and another technologically based, but I'm not sure that he produces anything. I believe that what he produces is profit. And that's a great thing. It's a business startup, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Ordinance 2019-19, ordinance authorizing the conveyance of easement of rights for the purpose of utility construction at the Oconee Industrial and Technology Park. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. We have a first and final reading, Resolution 2019-16, resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Westminster, Mike Crenshaw as Sheriff for Oconee County and Oconee County in relation to the enforcement of the municipal ordinance implementing a curfew for minors within the corporate boundaries of the City of Westminster. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Do we have discussion regarding action items, $50,000 for expenditure of undiscovered SC grant,
Mr.
November?
Chairman, I'm sorry, can I jump in? The next 2 I need to jump in.
Okay,
Where the motion is made on the second to last line, the sum is going to come from the Oconee support line item, not the community contributions line item. So when the motion is made, if you could just state that.
all right. On November 20th, 2018, council approved the application for $50,000 SCPRT undiscovered SC grant. This is a matching grant. The Foothills Farmstead was to reimburse the county for the matching $50,000 as funds were spent. It's now requested that council not require Foothills Farmstead to provide the matching 50, but that sum come from the support line item description in the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget for Oconee County.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion from council? Ms. Brock, if you'll touch real quick on what that support line is and where that comes from.
The Oconee support line, sir, previously was named Community Contributions. It is in the Health and Human Services. This is where council has traditionally in the past given donations to nonprofit agencies that provide health, human service, tourism, recreation, or welfare services to our citizens and visitors.
Any other discussion from council? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. We'll move to the ratify execution of memorandum of understanding between South Carolina State Election Commission, Oconee County, and Oconee County Board of Voter Registration and Elections in relation to the new statewide voting system. Mr. Root, please.
Yes, sir. Again, to change the motion, is now going to be, what we need is a motion to authorize the county administrator to execute the memorandum of agreement that was most recently handed to council. You'll see it in front of you. It's highlighted in yellow, or at least the changes are highlighted in yellow. It is made more specific within that agreement that the State Election Commission has procured the voting components, are giving those to the county, paying for maintenance and operations for this year. The county is going to secure the machines, keep them safe, keep the data confidential, and pick up the maintenance in the following year. The agreement was previously signed, the first rendition of the agreement was previously signed contingent on council approval. That's why I said ratify. But now what we need is a motion to authorize the county administrator to sign the most recent version of the memorandum of agreement.
Make a motion.
Motion is as stated. Any other discussion from council? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Goodyear tires from state contract vehicle maintenance and quarry. The amount is an estimated at $90,000. The previous council approval expired at the end of 2018-19. Staff is now requesting approval for an additional 5 years, as long as all purchases from Goodyear tires are in accordance with the awarded state contract for each future fiscal year, and amounts do not exceed amount budgeted. It is staff's recommendation that, one, approve the purchase of Goodyear tires as needed from Super Service Tire and Alignment of Walhalla, South Carolina, for an estimated amount of $90,000 for fiscal year 2019-2020. And two, allow county administrator to approve future purchases from state contract for the next 5-year period through 2023-2024 fiscal year, as long as all purchases for Goodyear tires are in accordance with the state contract award and amounts do not exceed amounts budgeted for tire purchases. Do I have a motion to approve 1 and 2?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Action item, conservation easement on 218.67 acres, Chaga Heights tract adjoining Chaw Ram Park through Upstate Forever. Council approved placing the easement 5/21/19. This is approval for an actual language of the easement. The goal of this easement is to protect the property and the Chaga River watershed, and to allow for a master plan to be completed, which will enhance public use of the property. A master plan will focus on passive and leisure recreation opportunities, like expanding the lodging opportunities, increasing hiking and biking trails, and to create a center for the public to enjoy. It is staff's recommendation for approval of this conservation easement. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Action item, approval for the addition of the Oconee County Deputy Sheriff position. Addition of a Deputy Sheriff position request is based on the unanimous recommendation by Pine Street Department heads and administration. The Deputy Sheriff will promote a safe and secure environment for citizens and staff, perform general patrol duties during business hours and meetings, maintain a county safety program. The Deputy Sheriff will also assist the Oconee County Sheriff's Department with preserving law and order in the surrounding areas upon request. It is staff's recommendation that council approve the addition of a Deputy Sheriff's position. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Ms. Brock, if you'll update real quick about what went through and the research that you did for this position, please, because I think it's important.
I'd be happy to, Laura. Thank you. So as you all know, we conducted an assessment of the Pine Street security shortages and needs about 2.5 years ago. Over the past 2.5 years, we've implemented small but measurable quantities of improvements. But one of the largest improvements that we face is retrofitting a building that was built in 1949. The expense of retrofitting this building compared to having a deputy presence in the building is no comparison. Retrofitting the building, some of the estimates came out as high as $750,000, and we all know that prevention is better than reaction. Studies have shown that when a deputy and a patrol car are present, that activities in the criminal and or violent areas have decreased. We feel that this would be the best first safe measure for the security of this building and of Pine Street staff, citizens, taxpayers, visitors. In the past Chief Davis is here, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think 2.5 years, we have had a deputy here for high volume tax season and have utilized overtime expenses for that. The cost in front of you for $55,000 to $59,000 does not include the overtime because this would be a full-time position. So the cost to the county could be reduced by about $8,000 per year in overtime expenses.
Vehicle for this person you already have? Are there, could possibly
Yes.
be?
Yes, it was one, because this position primarily will not be doing road service work. It was one of the ones that would have come up for replacement on the capital vehicle plan. The administrator's vehicle is on the capital vehicle replacement plan. I personally don't feel the administrator, needs a new vehicle at this time. So I'm bumping the county administrator position in the line for the replacement and adding an additional vehicle for that replacement.
Is there an equipment cost or anything that needs to be in there?
Equipment cost is
Equipment
roughly $8,000. I hope to be able to get that on a security grant. If not, for the funding that I have asked for in this year's approved budget for security implementation, would be in addition to the 59 to 59,000, but is still within budget for what I'd requested.
Any other council member comments?
Yes, I mean, safety is number one for our employees and for our citizens, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We do have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Do we have action item? Council approval for required preliminary engineering for Sewer South expansion in the amount not to exceed $183,900. Motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to ask one question.
Yes.
We're spending $183,000 for engineering. How about engineering on Ducks Pond Road?
Mr. McCall, engineering for Duck Pond Road has, it is actually still underway, I believe. I don't believe I have a final engineering report on that, but we don't engineer roads one at a time. We don't do bridge and culverts one at a time.
I got
We
another
have the
call
engineer on call.
Mr. McCall, make sure, like, I don't have any issue coming back up on unfinished business, but if it's about Sewer South, because I'll bring that back up under unfinished.
Well, the point I'm trying to make here, we're spending money on this when we got a road out.
Right.
And the holdup is engineering. That's the question, the point I'm trying to bring.
Mr. Root, can we bring that up under unfinished or new business?
Are you done bringing it? I understand, I think it's within the milieu.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Not now,
Okay.
so you're good, Mr., and if I could, Mr. Chairman, Mr. McCall, these are part of the funds that were already approved for the Sewer South project that we are essentially reimbursing the sewer authority for to get that phase 2 line down. This is just that first element of those costs. So it's not a new, different expenditure. This is something that y'all have approved before. It's just a piece of that pie. So if that helps out to bring the whole picture into focus.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, I understand that Duck Pond, I just wanted to make sure that focal point was on
Yeah.
Sewer South, and then we could go to Duck Pond, that's why I brought that up, so, because I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
Do you want to bring up and touch base on Sewer South, where we're at?
I most certainly can, yes, sir.
So, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir, thank you. So last September, County Council approved the allocation of $613,000 in matching funds for engineering for the Phase 2 expansion of Sewer South, which would go from the Golden Corner Commerce Park Pump Station to exits 1 and 2, as per the sewer agreement that we have with the authority. In December, the EDA informed the Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority that additional engineering for further consideration in the $3.7 million grant would be required. When we had spoken with Chris Eliezer and Thomas Mann from Davis & Floyd, which is their engineering firm of record, they told us that in the past, and to ACOG's experience as well, that when additional engineering was required from an entity, that generally those grant requests had turned out very favorably. So I do believe this is to be the best interest of the county in expanding the sewer service to the I-85 corridor. And Mr. McCall, just to address your question with this expenditure funds, in September, we approved the 613, so the 183,900, or the amount not to exceed 183,900, would be reduced from that previously approved 613.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I also want to speak to the engineering, the archaeological survey that had to be done. We're moving as quickly as possible. I know people say government moves slow, and unfortunately, we have things that we have to do in order to get the funding. I did speak to Senator Alexander today. As he's moving forward, the funds are there. This council is pushing forward for Sewer South. I want the citizens to know that is important to every member up here, as you can tell from the votes that have occurred prior to this point. I appreciate all the work that's being done. Just because you don't hear it doesn't mean it's not getting done. There's a lot of things that have to go in the ground before you start seeing dirt coming up. So appreciate all the work that's been done down there to start Sewer South and get that finished. So we have a motion and a second. Any other council discussion at this time? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Discussion regarding signs, including billboards in Oconee County.
Mr. Davis,
Yes, sir, Mr. McCall.
I thought that this thing was dead couple of years back, and now it seems to be coming up again. What, does the planning commission not know what we decided in the past? Maybe I'm at loss here.
Mr. McCall, I asked Mr. Davis to put this on the agenda for this meeting because I believe that it's time for us to discuss Oconee County placing a moratorium on any new billboards in the county. There's been discussion, for many years, many different places about that, and I think we have enough. I've driven down 123 from Seneca to Westminster for the past several years and seen advertised here on the same billboards for the past few years. So it tells me that we're actually overbuilt on billboards. There's not a demand for more new billboards, clearly. If they were, I think all the ones we've got would be filled up with advertising. So I think being that we are actually aiming to be a tourism destination, now is the time to place a moratorium on billboards.
Mr. Rood, what happens when the billboard company says restraint of trade, we're taking you to court?
And that's where I was going to interject. I don't want to cut off what could be a good fight, but for purposes of actually doing that in seriousness, this is something I would rather, if the motion can be made, for me to research it. There's speech issues, there's property rights issues, there's certainly municipalities, there's even states who ban billboards. There's a lot of different approaches to it, but South Carolina is unique, Oconee County is unique, and I'm in the business of keeping us out of litigation, so I would like to look into and be able to present to you all a more fulsome, educated approach on how you could address billboard issues. Not saying that anyone's for or against, just so you know what you're dealing with, and I need to do that research.
Right. And just for clarification, the agenda states discussion regarding signs, including billboards in Oconee County. There's no action that could be taken tonight because there's no action set in front of us. Those recommendations can be made as what's been stated to move forward. If such motion is made to get some clarification on that, on this county, on how many billboards we have, we have the agreements and stuff, the ordinance that we have on there as well, moving forward on there on the maintenance of billboards and things like that. So I believe that is the reason why Mr. Kane did put that on there, and we did include it as discussion only for direction.
And Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to direct staff to research the legality of sewer moratorium, excuse me, not sewer moratorium, a billboard moratorium, a billboard moratorium in Oconee County. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have some.
Yes, sir.
How much money do we just spend putting up signs to go to Chaw-Ram Park and all this on the side of the roads? Did that tee you off when you seen those, Paul? Are you against all advertisement?
No, I'm not opposed to advertisement. I'm against new billboards in Oconee County.
Well, what about the ones we just put up?
Those aren't new billboards.
They're new signs sitting on the road, go to Chaw-Ram Park, don't miss such and such up the road here.
Yeah.
How many do, they got them sitting down there on my property.
Signs are defined differently than billboards. A billboard is is it a sign greater than 75 square feet?
75 square feet.
Yeah.
And
So-
generally off premises is another. There's a lot of subsets to this issue, and I think generally if I could continue to interrupt, but generally the states and the communities who have put a ban on or moratorium on billboards have put the focus on the fact that there is an inherent risk of either clutter or just distraction. So that would differentiate the different types of billboards. That's what I'm saying. It's a multi-level, you just get a lot of issues at play in it, so it's not a linear discussion, so to speak, that I like to look at.
And there
Now,
has,
I'm not opposed to advertising, absolutely not. But when I drive down the road and see signs that have been unutilized for years, and I mean, not 1 year it is, 1 year it isn't, I mean years straight, multiple years, that tells me that now we've created or somebody's created a nuisance, and it's clearly unnecessary.
We have a ordinance, don't we, against those? That those are abandoned signs that should be taken down? Do
If
we not have that?
We're not enforcing it.
not abandoned, there's no clear, when you're talking about lack of advertisement for 2 years or whatever, or if it's lost in, several of the ones that he speaks of was lost in bankruptcy, different things like that, and that's not in any way speaking, but those were the ones, and they came back after they were purchased, have been leased out, but there was a lot of change that was done in the county, as you know, they got probably 5 or 6 put up, and there were some changes made in the length between the 2 billboards because there was multiple billboards put up, double stacks, side stacks, things like that, that were put forth. I'm not against, again, the action is for research on it's not an action item to do away with. So during that time, some of the concerns that you have can be brought forth as well.
I'd like to go ahead and express one concern right now. All of this you talk about can't be abandoned, you can't do this. I received a letter from Oconee County saying that my sign was abandoned. I had to go to court and get a permit to reestablish the sign, and I had 45 days to have it built and put back in position before I could get the permit. The sign that I have was permitted in 1994. And they wanted to just forget that it was even there. That's the reason I say that this county, the planning commission, has a habit of overreaching what authority they have.
We're the ones
I
that
think the
approve
council
what the
has it.
planning commission brings forth. So the planning commission can bring up anything they want to bring up, and we're the 5 that get to decide to approve it or not approve it, or make changes and send it back, as we've done multiple times. So the idea that the planning commission brings forth is from a multitude of whether it be citizens or districts or whatever else. We're the ones that get to decide if that's what we want to approve or not.
Well, you can mark me up as a no vote.
Okay. But we're not voting on anything besides the discussion moving forward. So, any other discussion from council? And would you state your motion again?
It's to direct staff to research the legality of a billboard moratorium for new billboards in Oconee County.
And as part of that, and this will go to Mr. Hart's, I think, question on one of his concerns, we'll see if we can get numbers on what would be truly abandoned billboards versus ones that aren't used, and what's not even within our jurisdiction as well. So we'll try to make it as comprehensive as we can, so it may not be ready on August 20th.
All right. Mr. Elliott, you had the second. Does that still stand?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Board and commission appointments, building codes, there's 3 at-large seats. I have 2 in front of you today. The first that I have, Mr. Josh Lusk, has applied for building codes. These are at-large seats. This is a County Council District 1. That's what he represents. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Second Building Codes Appeal representing District 4, Mr. Opie Gilbert, Poplar Springs. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got 1 left on there, so, all right. So, unfinished business. I guess, Mr. McCall, did you have any other thing on Duck Pond that you wanted to discuss? Or was
Yes.
that? Yes, sir.
I got some more calls today. Mr. Dyer can relate to this. I got a chewing to make Master Chief proud on the phone. People are wanting to know why. Why has it been washed out since April? This has got nothing to do with the administrator. This has got nothing to do with our policy and procedure. The administrator's innocent of this. It's washed out. Why don't you fix it back? And people are getting more upset. More upset. The trucks from the rock crush are being routed around in there. And of course, we're elected officials. So you take the chewing and the only thing you do is say, I will pass it to the administrator, or I understand your concern. We as council members can't say, hey, go out, put the pipe in the ground. We can't do that. But it always seems to be, and this is getting, now school's gonna start. They got the dump trucks going right by James Brown Elementary. They're not happy with this, and they want to know, what are we sitting up here doing? And I say, well, I got a chew input on me today. It would make Master Chief Gossett proud. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take it. I can't talk back. We gotta do something. We can't, as a council, we set policy, that's all we do, policy and budget, nothing else. So, we need to either streamline the policy or do something to get these people off my back. Because they're voting, they vote me in, they're the bosses, not me, I ain't the boss. And they're getting more and more and more upset. And when school starts, they're really gonna be hot. You get a parent that's trying to get into school and dump trucks are going by, because our quarry does a heck of a business. And we got a road plugged off and we're waiting. Once again, it is not the administrator's fault. It's the policy. Thank you.
Mr. Brock, you want to do a quick update on where we're at on Duck Pond, and I know we're moving forward to it.
I wish I had a better answer. I know that we were in engineering phases. We have several roads that washed out. We had a record number of roads closures on Good Friday. I don't know if you all remember that terrible day and the storms that we endured. Several of the roads that were closed at the time are still closed or either have limited access. Mr. McCall, I realize this is hard on especially the people that are calling you and making Master Sergeants proud.
Master Chief.
Master Chief's proud. I am sorry for the public output that you're getting here, and if you could, have them call me. I have become quite accustomed to taking it. I wish I could give you a better answer, but the truth is, it wasn't engineered very well in the first place. We know that we have a significant upgrade in equipment coming to the quarry in the next several months. We know that we're expecting production to double. So we know that we need to engineer that to a greater standard than it was before it washed out. And that's taken a little bit more time.
Well, once again, it's not your fault. It's the policy of the county's fault. We, the council, set policy, that's all. So it falls back on us for not having the policy in place for you to do your job. You're doing your job. We're not doing our job.
Mr. McCall, what policy are you recommending that we change?
The policy, why it takes so long of dragging and dragging to get a simple thing done. She's not waylaying anything. It's, you call that, well, it's the policy to do this. It's the policy to wait and do this. It's another policy. We set policy. So it is our fault, my fault, everybody up here's fault, because we set policy. We can't call the road department and say, hey, you fix this thing. No, it doesn't work that way. The policy allows her to do her job. She's doing her job. We're not doing our job by the policy held up.
So,
And when a kid gets run over or a car gets hit, they're gonna come back and they're not gonna be happy at all.
so if we're not doing our job, what do we need to do to correct the policy?
We need, that is a good thing. Correct the policy by saying the policy could be, and I'm just paraphrasing here, if a bridge washes out, by policy of the county council, setting the county standards, we have 30 days to have a plan in place, and that thing has been let for bids. The road washes out, ain't nobody using the thing. So we gotta jump on it. The policy says, if it washes out, I'm making stuff up, we got 30 days. By 30 days, that bad boy is out on bids, and within the bid closing, a fast bid could be 10 days. Is that procedure?
Actually, if I may,
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a really good employee watching on YouTube right now, and I got a text. The bids are going out this week or early next. 21 days to open the bid, 6 weeks to build the culvert, 2 weeks for construction, and a target completion date by end of October.
See, if we had a different procedure, put it out, bid, put in, and finished.
No, part of that time was engineering, Mr. McCall. Part of that time was engineering. We knew that we had to make some upgrades to that road and the bridge.
Yeah, but if the procedure was there, when we got engineering staff, engineering company on retainer, right? Same as we do for the airport.
Engineer by contract, yes,
When
sir.
you get a call, the road washed out, the council needs to set the procedure, saying, we get a catastrophic road failure, all right, immediately, 30 days, we've already got a plan in place, give a bid window of 10 days for qualified bidders. At the end of the 10 days, the qualified bidder, construction starts immediately upon notice of award.
Change it.
One of the things, if I may, Mr. McCall, that I would recommend as well, sometimes we're not replacing things until they fail. And I think the bridges and culverts, and I'm sure every guy that works on that crew would come forward and talk about how that's when they're replacing as much as we're given. So from a standpoint on something that I know the council can do is, look at what we're doing on bridges and culverts, look at what we're doing on our roads and how much we're putting on there. I know from a standpoint on the bid scenario, when the road washed out, it went straight in, what are we gonna do now? And the engineering phase, I'd rather fix it right the first time. I don't disagree with what you're talking about on the timeline, but there's limitations to what we can do because we are government. I know I'd like to snap my fingers and things happen right now. I'd rather be digging in the ground going to sewer south. But unfortunately, there is things that have to be done. We have to spend $183,000 on engineering. I'd rather not spend money on engineering, but we have to. Otherwise, if we build it back and it fails, guess what we're going to do? Do it again. And I'd rather have that person that you're talking about be mad at me a little bit on the front, because I tell you what, it's like any problem. If it doesn't get fixed the second time, they're twice as mad. So I think with that, if I may, Ms. Brock, can we get some kind of recommendation from the roads department on the funding that council is providing them, the appropriateness of that funding, what they feel like we are not doing? Is this something that, obviously, 123 fell apart. Think about that. So, this is not just our problem. That has been a huge issue. And that's demolished other roads around there. Same way with this one. We're coming off of Duck Pond, and I guarantee you, guess what we're doing to the other road? We're tearing it up too. So I think if we do it right, if we engineer it right, and we fix it right the first time, I know it's taken a while, but I know that we're doing everything within the powers. But, there is things that we have to do, right?
Yes, sir, and in that moment, I realized I seemed a little distracted. I was just verifying with the procurement director here, I was trying to, Popham, who's here, thank you, trying to, it's not the minimum or maximum number of days that we put it out to bid, Mr. McCall. The feedback that we receive from the contractors is that they need a certain amount of days. They need to do pre-bid, because when we have the engineering done, any contract a contractor that wants to bid on the job would have to have all of those specifications, have to have the price list. We would need to give them enough time to adequately bid on anything that we're putting out of this magnitude. So the extended length of time to put it out for bid, we don't have to put it out for 21 days. But it would take that length of time for the contractors in the area and out, on our preferred vendor list or whatnot, to be able to provide the information to us so that those bids are accurate.
But the problem is, and this is, you can check my USDA report. 2 years ago or longer, when I drained Ducks Pond under a USDA contract to rebuild it, our report noted that that other side of the road did not drain. That was sent to NRCS Atlanta. That culvert, it did not drain, and when we cut a dam to drain it, it said we got to certify, we drained the basin, and there was no beaver dams or whatever. And we made a note in Keller's report to NRCS that thing did not drain on the other side of the road. And we go by there, hey, the water's still standing over there. And nothing was done. Not your fault again.
Thank you.
Bill, I think that comes into, do you think that you could work with Roads and Bridges to kind of come up with?
And actually, I believe if Mr. Hart wouldn't mind, since you're the chairman of the Transportation Committee, Mr. Hart, I know the next meeting is not scheduled until October, but we could work together, get the information together, and then have a called Transportation Committee meeting to go over this prior to bringing back to council.
Set one in that August.
Mr. McCall, you have a Law Enforcement Committee meeting on September 17th, which is a singular meeting for a committee that evening. We
moved that to the 3rd.
I believe he wanted to have both, not Mr. McCall? The September 3rd and the 17th?
Yeah,
that you
because
remain?
hopefully I have some Chinese here.
Okay. Mr. Hart, if you would like, we could piggyback those two meetings together as we have done in the past.
Fine.
So September 17th will be at 4 o'clock. Whichever meeting begins first, we will run the second meeting concurrent to that.
Mr. McCall, I agree with you. I don't feel like we failed as policy. I feel like we failed on maintaining, and by maintaining, that's funding. So we need to probably look at that as we move forward, especially in that, I mean, let's understand, like what you're talking about, when that was noted, that was obviously a much needed. Obviously, we're not expecting as much rain as what we are, but I think that's something moving forward that I know you're working with department heads on that, so they can have a plan so it's in front of us. So when something like that's brought forth, it's not when it failed. That way the bids are going out while it's still being used, so it's only down when we're constructing it, so.
Look at our procedure as far as this April, May, June, July.
It's not that far.
And the problem we have to address is what happens when a dump truck hits a parent and a kid going into the elementary school, and the legal liability says, well, you knew in advance this thing was plugged up and you're sending trucks down in front of the school. It's the right or wrong, it's the legal question the county is going to have to face up to.
Just of note, Mr. McCall, if I may, Duck Pond, when it's reopened, won't eliminate any of the traffic on Coffee Road except for those taking the detour at this time. There will still be dump trucks going on the Coffee Road, even with Duck Pond open.
Yeah, but they're coming straight through.
And Duck Pond, or that entire area, there's a lot of upgrades that we've been looking at as well. It's not just this culvert that we're looking at. This culvert failed, obviously, but there's other things that we're looking at that we're upgrading as well, correct?
And we have looked at some extreme rainfall numbers. We are not alone in the state, that's for sure. But the good news is, it's going out to bid next week.
The good news is it ain't your fault.
But, Mr. McCall, did you want to bring a motion to direct staff to look at that process?
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I'm sorry, if I could, since this is not on the agenda and it's something that would be within the administrator's discretion already, I think she's indicated that she'll bring folks to Roads and Bridges, with Roads and Bridges to the Transportation Committee on the 17th to address that policy and procedure and come up with, if we don't have it in place, the most expeditious and safe way to address road closures. So she's doing that. She has the discretion to do that. I don't want to have a
Good.
FOIA violation.
It's good.
And just for the record, Mr. Hart, you are in agreement for the September 17th? Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Mr. McCollum?
No, that's good.
So you fixed it? No, I'm just kidding. Any other new business? All right, executive session, and Mr. Hart, I'll need you to, on number 10, that's what I'll put you on when that gets to there to make that, since you have it written down. Need a motion to move into executive session for 1, discussion regarding an economic development matter, Project Aztec. 2, discussion economic development matter, Project Trout. 3, discussion economic development matter, Project Chi. 4, discussion regarding economic development matter, Project Resource. 5, receive legal advice and discuss contractual matter related to land development. 6, discussion of contract and economic development matter, historic courthouse. 7, to receive legal advice and personnel matters related to the following departments for the internal review procedure. 8, discussion regarding a contractual matter regarding Visit Oconee. 9, to discuss contractual matter relating to the potential purchase of property for public safety, and I'll refer to Mr. Hart for number 10, if you'll state that for us.
10 is going to be a discussion of possible sale of Oconee County property in one of our industrial parks.
All right, do I have that motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reconvene, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No action was taken in executive session. Mr. Root?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we need 3 motions stemming from executive session discussions. The first relates to item 2, that is the economic development matter Project Trout. We need a motion to continue negotiations as discussed.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, the next matter is item 6 on the agenda. That's discussion related to the historic courthouse. Need a motion to direct the county administrator to proceed as discussed.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Mr. Chairman, the last item is number 9 on the agenda. This is a discussion regarding a contractual matter related to the potential purchase of property for public safety purposes. Need a motion to enter negotiations as discussed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. A motion to adjourn, please.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.